Hello, and welcome to the podcast about Transformers comics, toys, and everything in between. I'm Onyx Prime with my two co-hosts here.
Hi, I'm Computron.
Hi, I'm Kilobyte.
Moving on with our comic discussion for today's episode takes us to IDW Transformers Chaos Police Action Volume 6. And as always, spoilers warnings. Because why would you do that to yourself? Go read it. Come back, listen to the podcast. It's a good time. Earthlings, if you click that like button on this video or audio or whatever the platform is and subscribe, that really helps us grow and we really appreciate it. Now, onwards with the podcast. Both Combutron and myself have read this series already, but this is Killbyte's first time and we are excited to hear his thoughts about the series. Before we dive into that, Computron, do you mind?
Yeah. So let's get into some facts as usual. Hard ones over the fun ones first. Anyway, issue 1 of this arc came out September 7th, 2011, and the last issue of this arc arrived November 2nd of 2011. The writer was Mike Costa, and the artist was Brandon Cahill, with inks by Brian Scherer and colors by Joanne Lafuente. Okay, fun facts. Police Action was meant to be yet another playing in the genre, a 1940s cop noir story, and a Prowl solves a mystery story had been intended for a while. It was meant to happen earlier with Spotlight Prowl as part of it, but other stories pushed Action back while Spotlight was moved forward. In the last issue of this arc, Prowl's Data Slug from Last Stand of the Wreckers makes several appearances on his desk in this issue, serving as a deliberate, ironic reminder of how not so long ago he made unhanded, life-taking choices for the greater good, just like Spike did, or moral checkmate, as Prowl himself describes it. Anyway, this issue reveals how the humans were able to create their advanced exosuits in just under 3 years. It was because of Swindle's dealing with Spike. Spoiler! Now, Mr. Kilobyte, do you mind giving us a short summary of these comics?
Can do. Prowl investigates Scrapper's murder and finds that the rabbit hole goes deeper than previously suspected. Dun dun dun. And as always, this information has been taken from the wiki.
This is insane! Alright, so in this first comic, we get to see what's going on with Prowl and Spike, because last we heard, Prowl was sent to investigate Spike and see if the rumors were true. Bum, 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 gossip.
All thanks to Megatron.
Yes, so what is he doing? He's like tailing him, right? I think that's the human phrase, tailing.
Yeah.
Humans don't even have tails.
Before we get into that, I just want to say I really, really don't like the split lip on all the robots.
Yeah, that's fair.
It just was driving me bonkers this entire comic. I don't know why, but it was making me bonkers. But yeah. Prowl was tailing, and well, he has some sort of private that just doesn't know what incognito means.
This is true, and that private is...
Are you asking me? I thought Kilobyte was going to answer that one.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna answer because you were talking about
Streetwise. All right, we're here we go. Streetwise. That's his name.
Yes, not very wise now, is he?
Mm.
Especially about the
Quite.
streets. Anyway, so Prowl and Streetwise bring in Brawl for questioning because eventually they run into him because apparently Brawl was tailing them during their stakeout with Spike. Why not? And it turns out
I'm sorry. And mind you, Brawl is a tank.
Brawl is a tank. Not very sneaky, but I guess Streetwise is not very smart. So it turns out, in the middle of investigating him, Brawl has been the famous quote from Optimus Prime from the G1, booby trapped. And he has suppressors on him that knocks him out cold just before he gives us a big reveal. The plot thickens. Any theories?
I don't know, but Swindle's involved.
Toy Swindle.
Definitely Swindle. Alright, sure. We'll see if that's right.
At this point, I didn't have any ideas what could be because before we meet Brawl, we meet Breakdown that also attacks Spike in broad daylight, and he gets damaged by Streetwise and Prowl, but he manages to escape. So it's like two Decepticons are now gunning for Spike.
And then Streetwise, being as bright as he was, decides to bull rush a tank. Perfect.
Perfect. There's nothing that can go wrong with that at all
Absolutely
either.
not.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Nah, it's just gonna say moving on.
Moving on. Yeah, we get to, I think, is both mine and Computron's favorite scene is when Prowl is investigating the scene of the crime, where Scrapper, I believe, is the one that died,
Yes.
picks up
Yes.
some dirt and talks about how there's evidence in this dirt of the acid that was used to kill him, and says, "Now I got dirt. Dirt on Spike. Oh, my Primus.
Cheesy line.
Best cheesy line ever.
Totally worth it.
Totally worth
Totally
it.
worth it.
Anything you want to add to that, Kilobyte?
Well, after he says that, Spike walks into a room where Prowl is with all his monitor, and he says that he killed Scrapper. He confesses to everything, which is a little bit surprising.
What do you make of that?
I think he doesn't care what he doesn't care what he does or who he kills as long as it's for his country, because he is a soldier first, right? So he's just doing his job, and at this point he's just like, I'll take anybody that gets in my way, and that probably includes the Autobots. So he probably has some either traps or some plans in motion in case he needed to take them out. So he's not worried about them finding out that he did that.
Interesting. Interesting. For sure. For definitely. For sure.
And also, he looks different again.
He does.
He's no longer blonde.
He does change his look quite often in this series. But, so do some of the bots in here. They do change their forms, but not as often as this human. Interesting. Which then we discover that Jazz is being sidelined due to the incident.
The
Yeah.
incident.
Yes, the murdering of a human. Apparently, you can't do that.
Who'd have thought, right?
Who would have thought?
He doesn't like that, of course.
Of course not. No.
He's a soldier first as well. So
Isn't it weird? Like, do you guys remember the trilogy before?
the one with international incident.
I think it wasn't an international incident, but it was the part where all the Autobots were stuck on Cybertron and Jazz was in charge.
Oh, all hail Megatron.
Yeah, all hail Megatron. How did I forget that? All hail Megatron, and like all of a sudden he goes from being in command to sidelined. That's a slap in the face.
It was a very huge drop from grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Jazz. But eventually, we do discover a special someone who's been behind a certain Megatron gun disbursement.
It's Computron's favorite bot.
Computron's favorite bot. Who is it?
Major Schwindel.
Who also, we find out, sold weapons to Spike. Bum, bum, bum.
It gets thicker.
Bum, bum. Twindle always working both sides.
Yes, working both sides. That is the swindle way.
Hey man, if there's profit
Yeah.
to be made, there's profit to be made. That's
Gotta
swindle
get
for you.
that Shanix, right?
Yeah.
So, because Jazz was sidelined, he feels like he needs to participate in some way, even without permission. So he leaves the Autobot compound with another human to go to a secret special op that has a lot of Cybertronian technology and doesn't tell the human this. But while the human is distraction, he destroys the facility. Doesn't kill humans, but he destroys the facility that has that technology. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a good idea because he was there, like there was a senate of or at least a general on the monitors, and he was telling him, like, be careful what you say. I'm recording all of this for the media, and that way everybody knows you're involved with all these Cybertronian weapons and you're dealing with the Decepticons and all that. So I think he did the right call. That way,
Full
Yeah.
motive. As I say, I'm quoting from my favorite TV show, but cool motive, but still arson.
Still arson. Oh my god. You're not wrong. Yeah, which kind of takes us to the end, unless you guys have more notes.
This one's a very short one.
Yeah, it's 3 issues.
Yeah, 3 issues. Darn swindle being swindle. I can't wait to read Chaos.
Yeah.
After we finish the whole story with Spike and Jazz, we do have some other stories of Prowl as he is undercover uh, with the police, and we can see him like he explains that all the things he's seeing and all the things that are happening because of the war, and how he sees humanity at the lowest point and everything. And he talks with Optimus a couple times about why are we even here? They don't, they don't want us. We don't owe them anything. This was caused by the Decepticon, not us. And but they don't see it that way. They see us all the same, and it kind of made me like Prowl more because in the end of the issue, there's a two salvagers. If I'm not, they had construction outfits, but they were moving robot parts. And they have a gun, and they're like, "Ooh, let me see how sensitive this trigger is." And they press it, and they shoot at a building, and the building starts crumbling down. There's this little girl. Even though he's been told not to break cover, he breaks it, and he saves the little girl and gets pinned under the rubble. And I'm like, okay, this is the end for Prowl. This is they're all the humans are gonna execute him right there. They all have the weaponry to do it. But there is the police officer that's been stationed with him. He says, I see that you're just like me, a true beat cup, and I will get you some time so you can escape. And he manages to escape. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Which we also find out what happened to Thrust a couple of issues back. He was killed by humans. They lit the building on fire and made it collapse on,
Poor Thrust.
which is horrifying.
Pay attention to Thrust, though.
yeah.
He's not going anywhere anytime soon, but pay attention.
Yep.
So, Rod Star ratings.
I'll give it a 4.
The 4?
I liked
Yeah.
it. Made me like the character even more.
I'll go 3.5 on this one.
3.5. What would I do? Would give it. Wow, you guys picked both options I was thinking about giving this, and I don't want to feel like a copy turbo cat. I'm gonna go with the
Not
3.5.
copycat.
Yeah, 3.5.
Copycat.
3.5. Yeah.
Copycat if it's
Alrighty.
your option. If it's your answer.
Yeah, we have no emails for you today, but if you would like to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at swervesbarpodcast@gmail.com. So, anyone have any new toys?
No, nothing new yet.
Nope.
Yeah, me either. All right,
Kind
moving
of waiting
on.
to find some new stuff.
Right, ready for the spoiler season. Are you ready for Phase 1's grand finale, Transformers Chaos?
I'm ready. Let's see where all of this ends.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So if you've enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. We hope you all are staying safe out there. Thank you so much for listening. And again, till all are one.
Till all are one.
Till all are one.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Swerves Bar Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Swerves Bar. If you are interested in more content, try checking out the spin-off D&D Transform and Rollout Rise of the World Killers. Let's tune in for a preview now.
Only the worthy shall pass.
We've brought a worthy candidate.
Is that your Prima voice?
I'm gonna edit it in post, okay?
Well, I don't want to sacrifice.
I kind of want to sacrifice.
I don't.
That gives me a body.
You have a body.
I know, but I want another one.
You want? Oh my! Just keep wanting, don't you?
Is it weird that my sense of attraction goes for how I want somebody's body rather than just being like a conjuct Syndura?
Okay, that got weird real fast.
I want to be hot. God.
Exhilarating. There is also a YouTube channel with bonus content. Link will be provided below. End transmission.